It is the Welcome to Cooperville podcast / live stream here on Twitch. Thank you all for hanging out in the chat. To see you guys. Welcome back. Thanks for getting on the hang today. George Ducas is going to join me here in just a bit, but first things first, do have to send some love out to Midwest Meals at midwestmeals.com. That is really what keeps me functioning and eating properly, not only during COVID and lockdowns, but just during the course of a regular crazy life. There's 13 rotating meals. They just added on this barbecue pulled pork meal that is just insane. So what you need to do is check out MidwestMeals.com. Use promo code Cooper at checkout and get 10% off your first order. They ship nationwide. All your calories, your macros, your carbs, your fats, all that stuff is all counted on there. So if you're watching the numbers, they got you taken care of. Again, that promo code is Cooper at checkout, MidwestMeals.com. Violent Gentlemen Hockey Club, without hockey, they still have the gear, and they have their enforced social distancing line, which is pretty badass. You can check them out at violentgentlemen.com. Promo code there is Cooperville15 for 15% off your first order. Ladies, yes, they have a fantastic ladies line too. Don't think it's just dude stuff. And of course, my friends at Monster Energy, always for a guy who gets up super duper early in the morning and gets his run on, and then throughout the course of the day manages a 10-year-old and a couple of different businesses. Monster Ultra Zero, that's what keeps me going. Rain Body Fuel as well. Always hashtag Monster Podcasts when you're chatting us up here on Twitch, otherwise on YouTube, and then all of our other social media outlets. So, without further ado, episode number 63 gets underway with my friend Mr. George Ducas, who is down in Nashville doing the thing, wearing the powder blues today, and I love it.
Yeah, man. Hey, how are you, Cooper?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm in my little home converted garage, converted into a home workout facility here. So, yeah, just doing the COVID thing, man.
That's adaptation at its best, man. I think everybody is rearranged their house. They've gotten all their landscaping projects done they ever could have dreamed of. It's been like,
oh yeah,
laundry lists and to-do lists and honey-do lists. They've all been checked off.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I'm slowly, little by little. I mean, we got it all going here. Here's got the TRX.
Look at this guy.
Hanging in the garage. I got a screen set up for YouTube workout videos. I got the full-on dumbbell set of everything you could imagine. Got our mats going, so we're good, man. We're set to go here. We're all set.
Throwing it down, man. I was reminiscing on our last podcast, and it didn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was back in September of 2019, and we covered, I think, every topic during that podcast, and to listen to it again and to go back and just, we're talking about 2020, and we were talking about the year that was going to be and the cool stuff you were doing with the album release and the unique way that you were getting your music out to people, and it was, all this momentum going, to the last quarter of 2019 and then into 2020, and yeah. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, everybody had that, and I think you do as the natural course of a year goes on, as you get to the end, the fall time and then into winter, and then you have this these high expectations for the following year, and then 2020 came, and everything went off the damn rails, man.
Yeah, it sure did, man. Definitely took us by surprise. I had a 15-city Yellow Rose. The name of the album is Yellow Rose Motel, mm-hmm. as we talked about last time. Had a 15-city tour planned around it all. Mainly your neck of the woods, a lot of it, Midwest, and some Texas states as well. But man, it was obviously all for naught. But I mean, we moved several of the dates to 2021 already. And then we've got, some of them just canceled outright, just had to be canceled completely. Yeah. So, but, I mean, I don't spend a lot of time, bemoaning the fact, but, because everyone's going through it. I mean, that's my little neck of the woods is small potatoes. I mean, every certainly it's hit the music industry very, very hard.
Yeah.
No question about it, because there's no hope of. I mean, we can't go back to work. Not as touring recording artists. Like no one. I mean, outside of the occasional drive-in concert or whatever you're hearing about every now and then, there's really no way to do any kind of sustainable tour. People just can't be packed that close together, not responsibly, at least. In fact, the people that have tried it have gotten a lot of flack for it, and I'm not about to contribute to any sort of social irresponsibility by trying to go out there and play a show. So it doesn't matter if it's 100 people or 10,000, or 30,000, whatever. I mean, the more numbers, obviously, the worse. But it is what it is, and we're looking to 2021 really for a tour, and I'll still tour this record just as I was planning to. Hopefully we come up with a safe, very effective vaccine, or several. And it may take more than one for everybody. Like there's just a lot of talk about that. Nobody knows this science behind all this quite yet. But
right.
I think we're gonna get there. It's just a question of when. And we just have to be patient and smart. And unfortunately, some of us haven't been smart here recently. Spring breakers, the protests probably didn't help. I don't want to wax political too much, but anytime you get a big group of people together, it's probably not going to be a good thing from a health science perspective in this environment.
Right.
So it really has nothing to do with politics any more than wearing masks has anything to do with politics. Wear the damn mask.
Yeah.
Let's talk about freedom on another day. I mean, let's just stay alive this year, So, that's not a political issue to me. But as far as the planning of the touring goes and stuff, I mean, it'll all happen in due time. Right now I'm spending a lot of time writing songs for the next album, even, and excited about some of those. I've been doing a lot of co-writing just through stuff like what you and I are doing on Zoom and on FaceTime, and that's been pretty cool because I can just come down here in my gym shorts and work on writing a song with somebody. So that's a pretty cool deal. And aside from that, another cool thing that's come out of it is just with the advent of social media, and not that social media is a new thing anymore, but it's we've been doing a lot of live streams, and I've kind of done my own thing in that regard on Instagram called 25 and Live, where we kind of branded it with that cool, catchy name, and now everybody kind of knows that when they buy an item off my website, it contributes to one of the 25 that have to be that get purchased. That every time I sell 25 items, I do a live stream, full hour show, and both song and chat with everybody who chooses to join in. And anybody can join in; they don't have to buy an item to join in on my live stream.
Right.
But those that do buy an item, it's pretty cool because they get to then put in a song request of one of my songs. So the people who purchase a trucker hat or a concert shirt or a koozie or even a bumper sticker or something, they get to put in their song request, and they kind of create my set list for me for that show.
I think that's been, and I was on board one. Did you have you had the 3 Coke bottles that had Yellow Rose Motel? Did I see?
Yeah.
Did I see that? Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I auctioned those off during the last live stream. Yeah, that was awesome. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I only had 2 sets of them. Somebody had just gifted them to me when I was making the record, and we sold each of the 2-3 bottle sets. I don't know, $100 each or something.
Yeah.
So
so cool.
Yeah, just kind of cool stuff, and it's that's kind of cool stuff because it's not mass produced. There's only a couple of them out there. And they're specially made Yellow Rose Motel Coke bottles. So we had,
I feel, for the entire music industry, because I know that that's livelihood for guys like you and artists, and not just in country music, but in all genres, venues. I mean, it goes down the list from the artist down to the crew, down to the the local establishments that are used to, especially during the summer when you get up here in the Northwoods, that's where the money is made. But I have, and I've told you this before, that I've always had a special place in my heart for Nashville and the magic that happens down there. And you guys kind of got doubly screwed, not screwed, but two major altering events that happened in a very short period of time. And that was, the tornado that ripped through the city. I remember texting you the next day and making sure you and the family were okay. And like the next week or week and a half is when, everything gets shut down. So you have this, a lot of focus, I think, right off the bat on Nashville. And I know the city came together well and was, with the cleanup efforts and rebuilding and stuff like that. And then you get, this order that the city has to basically close. I mean, there's no gatherings, there's no bars and restaurants, those venues that live off the tourist dollars and stuff. I will tell you, because I was looking at flights down there for the end of July a couple months ago, dirt cheap to get down there. I mean, I could have gotten down there, but it had been me hanging at your house. We'd have been doing workouts in your garage gym there. But man,
which would have been great. In fact, I want to hear more about your sponsors, man. That's pretty cool that they do those meal plans for you and send it out, and they got your macros dialed in and everything. That's really cool. I'm into all that stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean, you could have flown down here really cheap, but then once you got here, it's like, okay, then what? Because there's not a whole. I mean, yeah, the bars downtown have been sort of notoriously trying to stay open, but they shouldn't, in my opinion. Suck it up, people. We just got to shut this stuff down for a little while and keep the cases to a minimum until we come up with a solution. That's just it. I mean, people can choose to disagree with me, but I mean, it's all fine and well until somebody that you know and love gets it, or you yourself get it. But we got over 4 million cases just popped up on my phone, and that's on Fox News. That's a news source that tends to be conservative and wants to certainly I think tends to be a little optimistic with regard to this whole thing. But even Fox News is saying 4 million cases. 4 million cases. Yeah, most of us will live through it, but do you really want to be the one that doesn't, or or have your grandmother or father or mother or sister or brother or best friend not make it through? I don't. I mean, I don't want to be in that boat. So once you got to Nashville, it wouldn't be the same Nashville. Is what I'm saying. You can fly down here really cheap, but there's not a whole heck of a lot going on.
Yeah, the experience of, I think, what draws people to Nashville, and from the tourist vantage point is seeing those places, is being down and seeing live music, and one day telling a story about seeing an artist that was performing on stage, and all of a sudden they're on the radio or they're on Spotify. It's
right.
But I think you're right. I think we'll all get through this, and life will get back to some sense of normalcy at some point. It's the waiting game now. I think nobody was anticipating this length of time. I remember when they shut the schools down up here, it was a 2-week thing. Hey, we're gonna take 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks became a month, and then it was the rest of the school year, and then it was all the camps during the summer and stuff. But I think as you go through this kind of thing, especially as an artist, and especially somebody who has a presence on a place like social media, utilizing this time to do the things that you're doing, writing, being in front of your fans, being like super hyper interactive with them. I mean, having a chat, being able to say, hey, Omara, who's in the chat right now, so, you can have that kind of real personal yet distance interaction. I think that's you have to be able to innovate during this time. You can't sit down and shut it down until it opens up.
No doubt. And I don't pretend to be the most innovative. I mean, everybody's out there doing live streams, but I think we've all realized how powerful that is. To your point of, live streams were never really a thing before this, not like they are now, certainly. And it's really, really cool to be playing a song. I mean, this is where I do my live stream. This is it. This is the setup. And, for those of you who can, I'll just kind of scan it. But this is my little live stream setup. I got, kind of some of the stuff that I use in my actual live shows. And, the amps are back here. Of course, nothing's really amped up too much. We don't have a band going, but, I'll be in the middle of playing one of my songs on this guitar, usually, not always, sometimes one of these guys, but and I'll be able to interact with a fan during the song or right before it or after it. And in a way that I would never be able to do in a real live show. You might be able to do a little bit of talking in between songs, but basically it's a show, and I like to keep them moving, So this is a really cool, more intimate experience that we're able to give, not just me, but anybody, any artist doing live streams, that we're able to give people, and like media people too, you yourself as well. Like, you're able to really handle, interactions on a more human level, on a more, one-to-one basis. And that's really powerful, man. It's really powerful. It's cool.
Yeah. Cause I think we're all, not that we didn't know it, maybe subconsciously in some level, but this is the playing field is completely level on a human to human dealing with COVID.
Absolutely.
So I think being able to realize that and just hearing that story about somebody, in a chat while you're doing a song. I mean, envision that being at a concert, that person is thinking like, hey, this song, when I first heard it, I was going through this and this got me through that, or whatever attachment they find to that song. For them being able to directly tell you, as you're playing it, like, this was a song that, I proposed to my fiance, proposed to my now wife, and or however their story goes. I mean, that is a whole nother level of like personal human interaction that, not saying without COVID it doesn't happen, but you've kind of when your hand is forced to be able to still be present and to do your craft, do your art. What a cool way to be able to do it.
Yeah, you're all in it together, sort of on that on our little screens. Whether you're on a phone or a laptop or an iPad or whatever. I mean, you're all in it together. We're all going through it together. Direct messaging, same way. Like whether it's on my Facebook or my Instagram, or to a lesser extent Twitter. You can have individual one-on-one interactions with people that you're not able to have in normal everyday life. I mean, you're just busier. Everyone's busier on both sides. Like the whole world is running a mile a minute. So, you don't really take the time to do that as much. Or I didn't, generally speaking, and certainly not during a show. Like, I mean, it's you up there on the stage, and then it's everybody else over here watching the show, so it's a little bit more of a passive experience from the audience's standpoint. In this way, they can message me ongoing. I mean, it's a constant stream of comments and questions, and hey, I invite them on live with me to split screen on Instagram, and say hi to them there, and they can give everybody they love a shout out, and so it's just a, there are some good things that come of this. I think a lot of introspective soul searching, if you will, on all our parts as human beings on this planet. We're being forced to undertake that now, and I think that's a positive. There's also some, of course, unrest that comes with it. That a lot of the issues that we're dealing with and attempting to tackle now probably would not have popped up had we not had this time. So. Yeah. Some of it's good, some of it's ugly, but probably at some point all of it was necessary, and I think it can be constructive.
Speaking of good things that happen during when you have time, we talked about setting up a home gym. We talked about getting the honey-do list taken care of, or the project list taken care of. I had a buddy, and George and I had been texting back and forth about setting this up, and they were going through, I think, totes of old concert T-shirts as part of their COVID cleaning, probably round 30 that they'd been through. And they found a Country Jam T-shirt, which happens in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, which is right in my backyard. 95 and third on that list, Third name on the list. Fourth, as you, no, it was third.
Oh no, I'm not saying 4. I'm just saying yes.
Oh yeah, it was. You were on the T-shirt. And I was
I was on the T-shirt, man. I was on the T-shirt. Absolutely.
Been here playing down by the river. That was. But it's cool to find those, as part of this. And I think that the cool thing about that is not obviously we had been talking and I sent you the picture, but somebody pulls that T-shirt out and they remember the being at that show, memories that they made. They go down that memory lane, and I think what it does is it puts into your mind, like, next time there's a show, I'm not missing a show. When shows come back, there's not going to be I'm waiting until next round, or he'll be here next year. It's if there's a show, people will go, and then abiding by all the rules that will be in place. But man, people are going to go see live music like I'm not sure they ever have before.
Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, whatever the rules are, have to hopefully we all stick to that. But yeah, I think we're all going to go nuts, man. We're going to go nuts with life. When we're finally able to, we're going to really appreciate everything that it is we get to go do, whether it's going to a show or going to get your oil changed. I mean, quite honestly, like, sorry, my dogs are barking upstairs.
It's all right. They're having a party.
So yeah, I think you're right. I was honored to be a part of that festival, Country Jam. That was a big one. That was definitely a big one. And I love seeing old stuff like that. I love the fact that you sent me that old T-shirt with my name on it, along with everybody else in country music at the time that was happening.
Yeah, it's I 100% agree with when the gates are open, and we can go back to an semblance of life that resembles, but probably will never ever be exactly, the way that it was. I think you're going to see this fever and this energy for life and all the experiences that you took for granted. You never. I'm not a big bar guy. I don't go out much, but man, there's been times when I drive by a burger joint, and I remember at one point in time sitting there having a burger and an ice cold draft beer, and like, wow, that would be really freaking cool right now. It's all those little things that you think of, having family reunions, or we talked about concerts, obviously, but
it's weird. And it's weird because all that stuff, when you get out there in your car and start driving around, it's all still out there. It's all still there, as if nothing's changed, but yet it's not the same. Everything's changed. Like you can go pick up a burger, but I mean, you don't have the full experience. You don't have that. You're not sitting down at that picnic table and seeing all the sights to see around you, whatever it is, having a meal with the buddies or a date or whatever the case may be. It's just not the same. You're going to pick it up with a mask, and you're taking it home, and you're sitting right back down in your kitchen and you're eating your burger. It's just different. It can be as constructive of an exercise as it is. It can be a brutal trial on our psyches, and one thing that I found, not to get back to this, but one thing I found that really gets me out of the dumps, if I get in the dumps, the COVID lockdown dumps, is working out. I always feel better when I have some sort of physical activity. That's definitely a go-to now. It's not the same. I guess I don't want to go to the gym. I'm not even sure we can right now, but those rules change on a daily basis. So It's like, I just want stuff I can stay consistent with. And, it's not the same as going to a gym and having all of that equipment, but just to get some sort of physical activity and to realize you don't need all that stuff to go do it and strike out on your own and go take a walk or whatever the case is.
Yeah. I think there's the side effects of all this is that, when you're instructed basically to stay home and not go anywhere, don't do anything, people can, you end up in your couch and you can sit there for, binging Netflix for hours, and hours turn into days. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm wearing the same clothes I've been wearing since Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
But, for me,
you're right.
You got to keep after it. I think and I'm an everyday guy. Just, I have it in my, it's just, if I don't do it, I think you and I have that same, that same passion. It's like, if I don't do it, I feel this weird regret, like the rest of the day, like, oh man, now I feel every time I have a beer, I'm like, oh, well, there's 95 calories that I didn't get to burn off today. But even more, I think above and beyond that.
Really? Only 95? What kind of beer you, what kind of
Hey, I'm
horse piss you drinking, man?
I'm trying to keep this, keep my girlish figure, for as long as I can before the wheels fall off. But there's a huge mental aspect to it too, I think. And
no doubt,
for me, running, it's so it clears the mind. It gets all the junk out, and you get past all the crap that's going on in the world, and you're like, okay, like I feel at least accomplished for the day. And then you sometimes that motivates you to kind of keep on a path of being productive throughout the course of a day.
Yeah, in whatever little way you can manage. Like, right. I mean, there's only we can't be productive 100%. Obviously, right now, none of us, or very few of us. Maybe some who work remotely can actually do the exact same job now that they could do prior to the virus landing on our soil. But most of us can't. But you can still be productive. You can still do something, and that's what that workout for me, and I think you too. Mm-hmm. It helps you kind of get back into that mind frame. Like, man, I could knock out a few things here. I could make this call. I could, finish up this song or take a look at it. I could, order these products that I'm going to need eventually, and kind of get set up for the future or whatever the case is. There's always something that you can do to be constructive, even if it's, well, I could pick up a book and read a book,
Right.
I mean, God, like who was doing that before? Some of us were, right. But many of us weren't. And all of us should, it's just good for it's good for your mind, So yeah. And as a songwriter, reading is always good for me. So,
same way for, there's a certain level of articulation, I think, that comes when you read for a while. Words somehow come out of your mouth easier. I'm not sure how that correlates, but it, at least for me, like having the time to read a book, but all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I can formulate a sentence a little bit better than I could before.
I think so. I think it's just vocabulary.
Right.
You just kind of it's like a muscle almost. If you exercise it, it will pay dividends. And I can certainly write better when I read, and I can certainly speak, I think, better because of it. Not that I'm an avid reader, I'm not, but I've always written more than I've wrote. But I've always written more than I've read. That's what I should say. But anyway, there's things we can all work on. Heck, if it's writing, a lot of people want to be writers. Well, now's your time.
Yeah. Learn how it works.
Learn how it works. Start with diary entries. Write your feelings on that day. But anyway, So I'm trying to, like all of us, like you. Sounds like you're in the same place, and some days are more difficult than others. But you just try to stay positive, and you try to keep on some sort of path and plan. And I don't try not to get too bogged down on the news. Some days I go an entire day without turning it on at all. Most days I don't. Most days I do feel the need to check in on it, sort of see where the world is.
See what the rules are today. Like, oh, what can we do today?
Yeah.
What can't we do?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What can we do and can't we do? Which really doesn't affect me much, because I'm kind of like, man, I'm just going to sit tight and for the most part.
Yeah.
Till all this stuff blows over, like if I can.
Did I see there was a million stream milestone that was reached recently? Did I come across that info?
You did, man. You did, on Spotify alone. That didn't even include any Amazon or Apple or any of the other. But yeah, on Spotify we're over 1 million, well over 1 million streams now on this new record. So on Yellow Rose Motel. So I encourage everybody, all of Cooper's fans, take a listen, and hopefully you'll become my fan too. But yeah, I've got over 1 million streams on it now, and that's pretty cool. The record's been out, I want to say maybe almost, I guess it's been 6 months. So it's a pretty good little achievement for a indie country record. And we're going to keep plugging away with it and seeing what we can do to get it out there.
Well, it's a fantastic record. Every time, like that guy that sent me the picture of this shirt, I sent it to you, and you're like, send him a link to the record. I'm like, already done, dude. I'm like, dude. and make sure you jump on the live stream, or at least check out the video after it's posted. But, I think knowing it, and we had a lengthy conversation in the last podcast, which, by the way, is episode number 23. So go and check that out, and you can go through the all the world's problems we solved back in September, which now seemingly are a little bit different in July of 2020. But, we talked about, the people's attention, where it is, where people are discovering music and the machine and radio and things like that. But, when people are, their attention is on their device. I mean, that's how, not only for distraction, but also for information, for communication, for talking to loved ones. My mother lives out in Northern California, and we had trips planned back and forth, and obviously all those are canceled. So I mean, we're on Zoom and we're on House Party. We're on our devices, and so I think, knowing and doing the things that you're doing, and engaging with that audience is obviously leading to great things as far as the streaming numbers, and to have it 1 million just on Spotify, knowing there's a handful of other places where people are listening. It's gotta make you feel good. It's gotta make you, put a smile on your face when you think about it.
It does. It sort of shows me the power of perseverance, which I wish I'd have learned that earlier in life. I started out on Capitol Records when, as a major label artist, everything is, really done for you. Mm-hmm. And once we agreed to part ways, just due to a lot of factors, but basically all the people that were working there when I was signed got fired. Mm-hmm. So once I sort of became a redheaded stepchild, as it were, there, I think I was on my third record label president at the time, by the time I finally split ways with Capitol Records. But, instead of persevering on that artist path, I still would play the occasional show, but I became more of a songwriter, and just, writing songs for other artists for a number of years, especially while I was home having two kids, one of which is working out in my garage, converted into a workout facility that I showed you when we started.
That's awesome.
So I just started writing songs for other people, and instead of persevering on the same artist path. And I sort of regret that a little bit. I wish I kind of just had kept plugging forward with it, but good things come of that too. I had a lot of other artists record my songs.
And success, and had some big success with that too.
Yeah, for sure. I have, and I have the useless, kind of the useless plaques on my wall to show for it. Those are like a bunch of stuff. The Dixie Chicks, Garth, I think he's down here. So, I mean, I've had songs on a bunch of big people's records, and that's been a really cool, Eli Young Band, my fellow Texas brethren. And then I got one in the mail just the other day. It's still in the packing, for a record that went gold from the Randy Rogers Band. But I just, that's like 8 or 10 years of work that, where other artists recorded my songs, so I don't really regret it, but it's just something that what I do regret is I should have just kept plugging away at the recording and certainly at the touring. Yeah. So, my dogs are going nuts. Let's go see what's going on.
What's happening with the pups? No, I think 2021 and having the record to tour behind. I mean, it's going to be 2021 is going to be the year. We talked about all the craziness that's going to happen.
Hey, you guys cut it out. I'll have to show them to you.
Are they having a discussion?
They are. I'm not sure what it's about. We're going to find out right now. Hey, Bullet, Bella. They're brother and sister. So, hey.
They're the other children.
Yeah. Hey, you guys need to stop. You're breaking up our good time.
They're trying to break into the industry. They want to get their own live stream going.
Yeah, well, Bella is a little bit of a diva. So.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I see what the issue is now. Their mom is coming home.
The excitement.
So that's Justina.
Hi, Justina.
She just ventured up.
Picking up some groceries.
Cooper.
Hi, Cooper.
Yeah,
how you doing?
Our Target run. So,
yes.
but yeah, man, I mean, I'm really, really pleased with, obviously the progress that we've been able to make online with this album, sort of in spite of the conditions,
Right.
that this year has presented to all of us. And, hopefully we can still capitalize on it for next year. That's my hope.
Yeah. And I think a big thing that we talked about, I think people having that fever for 2021, and when things open back up and we can get back to life, and we're going to live it in fifth gear, I think.
Yeah. Well, and of course nobody knows exactly when it's going to take place.
Right.
Like we're not sure when things will return to something closer to normal. But I think it'll be relatively quickly. I mean, I do. I think we can pretty much write off, at least for the touring world, we can probably write off 2020.
Yeah.
Most definitely. But I think hopefully by the time spring rolls around 2021, we can start getting after it again. And who knows, maybe I'll have my name on that T-shirt again for that festival out there with you guys.
We make some magic happen. Hey, George, I always appreciate the time, man, and the friendship and the great conversation. It's always good to see you. And
brother, absolutely. I want to apologize for being 15 minutes late. I got caught up in a conversation with my son here at the house, and it's like it's like a time warp. I mean, sometimes in these days here at home. So I looked up at the clock and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I knew it was coming up, but I just didn't realize what time it was.
Yeah, I told you when we jumped on here, I was like, I'm a 100% family first guy, and I've gotten that with my son, having conversation with him, and I'm like, oh wait, I think we're supposed to be somewhere, because and like working from home, I have the podcast, I have the beard company, and so everything is run out of my house. So like the day of the week is pretty irrelevant. Like, oh, it's I think it's Thursday, but I'll lose track of time, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the sun's going down, it must be getting late. That's going back to using a sundial, I think, is my next step.
I know, right? I know.
Looks
like if you didn't have your phone to look at your calendar, you'd have no clue.
Exactly.
I mean, no way to know. But I appreciate your understanding on that, and I apologize again about starting a few minutes late there.
It's all good, man. Appreciate you. GeorgeDucas.com. And of course, Yellow Rose Motel is the latest album, and you can find that on Spotify, and it's on all the other platforms too, Amazon, iTunes, all the good ones. Go jam to that, man.
Yep. YouTube, I'm on there. Look up my channel there, and please look me up on Instagram, on Facebook. It's all at George Ducas, or just type in my name on the search, and you'll find me. I'd love to stay in touch with. Obviously, you and I, Cooper, will stay in touch, but I'd love to stay in touch with all of you out there.
Absolutely, and then catch the next 25 in live, and then at some point you and I will gather together and we'll talk about Powder Blues and your Chargers.
We will talk football, and let's hope that, fingers crossed, that there's some sort of football season this year.
I don't know, man.
And we'll talk about your Packers. Is it?
Yeah, I think they're still around.
I mean, you are a Packer fan.
I am.
Yeah, I was just operating somewhat off memory, but somewhat off of, well, you must be a Packer fan.
Yeah, and and we're in a tough part of the state too, because we are. Proximity wise, we're closer to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the Vikings than we are to Green Bay. It's about an hour and a half over to.
I didn't know that. Know that.
So,
it'll be interesting to see what plays out. I know we're wrapping this thing up, but it certainly will be interesting to see what plays out with the NFL season.
Yeah, well, I think baseball will set an example of either how it's going to get done or how it's not going to get done, and basketball too. And basketball trying to do the thing down in Disney. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be it's the Wild West, man. It's the Wild West, and we're all just kind of watching it go by.
Yeah, it's going to at least provide some interesting non-political news.
Exactly. Some distraction.
Just the effort to try to have some sports will be an interesting storyline for sure.
And we'll follow it. George Ducas, my friend, thank you so much, brother. Take care of yourself and the fam, and my best, and we'll be in touch soon.
Stay safe, my man. Let's continue to talk about how to hopefully get out there in 2021 and play a show for you guys.
Let's do it, man. Much love, man. Take care of yourself.
you and yours stay safe, brother.
Absolutely.